have to support initiatives of this nature.
Could I ask, it was a 3-month period, so was it during that period that people were trained on how to use edit Wikipedia? And was there any sustainability in terms of the longevity of the project to keep it going, or was it just a 3-month period funded by Orange, hosted by Ndala, and a group of 10 to 12 people came in and learned how to use Wikipedia and then contributed articles, and after that it stopped?
I think it was a pilot phase, and the project is ongoing, and the sparse Wiki Africa is still open.
Okay.
But not as vibrant as before.
Sure.
Okay. I'm Douglas from Wikimedia South Africa. What are the biggest challenges you found organizing events in your country?
I think the biggest challenge is having the approval of the government.
Why do you need the approval of the government?
I think the government of Cameroon will not allow you to organize any event without them monitoring what you are to do, what the event is actually about. And secondly, the government would like to be part of every event, either as supervisors or playing another role.
What sort of challenges does this create?
Just delay.
Just delay, just making sure that they're informed, they say yes, that sort of stuff.
And most of the time they say no.
Okay, if there aren't any questions, I don't know if we all are covered. And yes.
Bobby, sorry, I've got one more question.
Yes.
If you had to give advice to people on how to work with government, what advice would that be? Like, what is the most effective method for you guys?
The best advice is to involve the government at the initial stage. So if you bring them in at the tertiary stage, then you know work. They will say they are less important, and they will not give you the So always involve them at the initial stage. Make them feel important.
And if you do that, is there a chance they'll give you some money to run these kinds of programs?
Definitely. You have a sponsorship when they know they are the foreigner.
Because maybe that's, I suppose, one model to try and incorporate the government so that you have the infrastructure and funding to keep this Plus Wiki ongoing.
Hi, my name is Ndala. I work with the Wikimedia Zero program at the Wikimedia Foundation, and I have a question. I don't know if you're aware that we have a partnership with Orange in Cameroon, and I've heard that the project that we're the Wiki Africa project was funded by the Orange Foundation. So I'm curious to know if people are aware of the partnership, that people that have Orange subscription, they could read Wikipedia for free in Cameroon. Can you comment on that? Do you know how is the awareness about the project there?
Yes, but not all Cameroonians use Orange Network. So majority of Cameroonians use MTN. So the issue of Wiki and Orange is limited only to the senior class, because just the senior class use, and most of them are not really attached to issues related to Wiki. Maybe they use their mobile phone just for message and calls. So but the class of people that will be interested in Wiki are for other networks. Maybe Orange can adopt another strategy and organize regional events to sensitize people. That would be better.
So MTN and other
Networks
would be reaching more people in the country. Okay, thank you.
In the absence of any questions, I don't know if there are any other questions. gonna give you this chance. Going again, going twice. Say Asaf.
Hi, I'm Asaf from the Wikimedia Foundation. My question is,
I'm Asaf from the Wikimedia Foundation. I have one question. Are you aware of any people who became editors of Wikipedia in either French or English as a result of this project? I mean, regular editors beyond what they edited during an event.
I don't think I do. I think it started a project.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rexon. So I'd like to know if I could ask you a question in the context of this. Because you have to deal with government so much, and it sounds like you have to inform government before you have an event. I just want to ask, are there any other countries that you know of where this is the case? And do you know, if so, how they've dealt with it? And what are the challenges that they face?
There certainly are quite a few countries where that is the case. I can't give you a recipe. It sometimes depends on personal connections. It sometimes depends on being willing to go through bureaucracy, which sometimes involves payment, either formal and legal or not so. It depends. It really depends. What I can say in this, as long as we're talking about that, is that the foundation is happy to help legitimize your appeal to your government if it helps. In some cases, maybe it won't help or even hurt your efforts, but if it helps, then we sort of vouch for a community member and say, yes, this is not a random person from the internet, this is a volunteer of the Wikimedia movement, and we, a nonprofit in the US, can vouch for this being a legitimate effort in education, etc., etc. We can provide that sort of letter fairly easily. And that's something that we offer that's available to all of you if you find useful.
I'm Asuya from the foundation, and just to follow up on what Asaf said and what Aminou said as well, one of the tricks with working with government, and I've done it for many years in India and across other parts of the global south, is that I think exactly as you said, Aminou, getting them involved, getting them to know, but also given that people in government shift and change, one of the tricks is also, as you get to know people, have some form of formal recognition of the work you're doing. So whether that is even a letter or some form of MOU, it's worthwhile in terms of institutional memory, so that the next person who comes to that role and you have to start the relationship with over again has some sense of an ongoing relationship. And I think that's always very helpful and useful. And as Asaf said, I think we're very well aware of the difficulties and the challenges involved, and are happy to help where you need us to. Can I just, sorry, I had another completely separate question, Aminou, which is just in terms of the community right now, and apart from the Wiki project, is do you meet regularly, of the few of you who came together to start this space? Do you meet regularly? Are there folks from the project who come by and drop in and spend time with you? Are there any forms of meetups that are happening in Cameroon right now?
We don't meet regularly, but we meet online regularly. And the major difficulty is the language issue. So how do you pair up a French speaker and an English speaker? So that's another issue.
So is your village pub in 2 different languages, or you're a separate village pub?
This project was actually based in Douala. I think Douala is French speaking, and most of those interested in the project are English speaking. So how do you match them?
Sorry, I feel like I'm hugging you today. So many apologies to everyone who called that. But I'm curious, how did you guys get started up? What brought you guys together? Like, what catalyzed the creation?
I think it was the Orange Foundation, because the sponsorship of the Orange Foundation actually pulled everybody, and the message they sent around. I think that was the catalyst, because we had no knowledge of Ndala arts and Africa Cellular. So it was actually the Orange Foundation that actually gathered everybody together.
I'm not quite sure. Can I comment on this? Please, please. Well, I think it's a point. I think money and the opportunity of doing things obviously create a boost in a situation. But I think it was very engineered. So there have been, actually Wikimedia France had contact with Orange Foundation at the same time, the partnership between Orange and Wikimedia Foundation, and also discussion were done. So you first need to convince all those people, so you need to inject the interest. But I do agree that the Wiki Africa Cameroon project was not a community-based project, so it was not a group of Wikipedians or editors that they get together and they decide to organize an event. This was absolutely not the direction in which the project went. I think, well, and also it has an advantage that Wikimedia Foundation tend to measure the success of a project by the number of editors that are activated through a project. Well, since we were not funded by Wikimedia Foundation, we had no metrics associated to this. So the success of our project is measured on the objective that it had. And the first objective was to have an internet connectivity that allowed you to edit Wikipedia, which in Cameroon is not always so obvious. I don't know the experience in other African countries, but having this hub was really getting a stable internet connectivity in which you don't start insulting everyone when you're editing and it doesn't work. So I think there were other reasons also involved, but I'm pretty sure that Orange Foundation definitely boosted the project. It's also helping in the communication of it, the link with Wikimedia Zero, but I would not argue that it's, but obviously this is my point of view.
Because of time, I would have to cut this gentleman right here and give other people a chance, because we can go on and on and on and talk. So the purpose of this is just for the presenters to do their presentations and give us an overview of what is happening in the state of the movement in their countries, and ask a few questions and then get just a few discussions on those questions and then come up with resolutions. But this doesn't say that the conversations or the discussions end here. We still continue, but because of time, we need to get more people so that we can get more conversation and more presentation before the day ends. So I would ask, say, Aminou, Ndala, to sit down. I'm going to ask for Samuel Buebo and basically Robbie from Ivory Coast if they are ready to come forward and give us their presentations. Thank you. Let us give them a